So one other common sequence when you enter with this position is as you enter in, the guy's gonna get this grip around your back into this kind of dogfight situation is what people call it. Or even if he just grabs the single leg, he might already be up on his elbow, okay? So when he's up on his elbow, if I start chasing the sleeve here, it's too late. If I chase the sleeve and try to put him back down, he's gonna come up into the single leg. So because of how I enter, I often already have this pant grip here like this, right? So when I have this pant grip and he starts coming up on his elbow, if I elevate this leg here, like this, see, keep coming up on the single leg, he can't come up. He needs that leg to be able to come up. So what I do is I start pulling this leg up and I try to use my right knee to put him back to the floor. It's the same thing if he has the wrap around my hip with your left arm. Here, when he starts coming up, I elevate this and you see my right knee, I turn it in. And what I wanna focus on here, turn this way, is my right leg when I'm here, just stand up. Okay. My right leg, when I turn my knee in, I can't just turn my knee in. So stay really tight on me, right? I have to kind of back up with my leg on my toe. Now I can turn my knee in and put it on his hip. Once it's on his hip, keep driving and coming on top of me. He can't come back. Some guys will even turn in so much that they give up the mount here. It's a very common response where the guy overreacts in and exposes your ability to, if not come to the mount, at least the quarter mount. And now I can cross face, collar grip, and start passing here, okay? So anytime you're entering for a knee cut and the guy comes up on that single leg really quick, be it with a half guard or just like trying to come up on his elbow, elevate that back leg and post your left hand on the floor. One other thought with this is to be careful about not giving up the deep half. If you give it up, it's not the biggest deal. If you know how to kill it, you can get through the position. But when I'm here and I have this back pant leg like this, and I'm here, I want to keep this left leg back. So I post my left hand on the floor and I go here, see, go for deep half now. See, I keep it back here. And now, even though he's grabbed my leg, because I have this top leg and my leg is so far back, try to rotate to your left to go deep half. Yeah, see, I can pull this leg back this way and keep him turned into me. And now I can start coming in, maybe grab the sleeve to set like we did before. Here, now I can cross face, finish the pass from there. All right, guys, so one other big thing to pay attention to when you're in this single leg guard is usually what the guy's doing here is when he has this single leg grip is he's feeding this lapel here, right? So he's gonna have this lapel. And one thing you really have to be careful of is with my left hand, this is why if I grab the sleeve, I'm leaning back to center him up. And when I'm passing, I'm posting this hand. The reason for this is if I let this guy get a good grip on my sleeve while he has this single leg grip, he can bump me and it's very hard because I can't post with his hand because it's stuck. So as he bumps, I'm gonna have to post with my right hand. And if you watch my video with Lucas Lepri, this is the system that Lepri uses all the time. Now he can come up, right? So whenever I'm fighting a single leg grip here, I have to be very, very careful of that, right? So if I'm here, if I grab the sleeve, I know he can try to grab me back. So I'm usually looking to get on the outside and pull it up. Now, even if he grabs me here, I'm not driving forward. I have my leg forward. I center him up here. I would get a cross collar grip. If he had this, I'd even break that before I go. Now when I post my hand high, he can't grab this, right? I use the forearm pressure, I posture, and I slowly grind my way through for the pass. If I do the underhook method and he's got the lapel still, right? I'm here, I center him up, I get this underhook. As I go here, again, I keep that arm straight and I posture, and that slowly pulls this lapel out of his hand here, if you can see that. Right? He's got this lapel. When I get this underhook and I go straight as a board here, as I posture and lean up, it drags that lapel out of his hand, or at least really low. Now, once I break it, I can come down, and when he doesn't have that single leg grip, he can't bump anymore. So now it's a lot safer to try to finish the pass. Okay, so another common situation when you enter with this top pant control version is the guy's gonna get you in reverse Delahiva somehow. So when he gets me into reverse Delahiva, the first thing I really wanna focus on, I can change up, my left hand's on the floor sometimes it's on the lapel, sometimes my left knee's on the floor, sometimes I'm on my foot. The main thing is this top leg, I wanna pull it back past my body because that's gonna prevent him from inverting. If I just stay here and I'm loose with this, he might put this in my bicep and start trying to invert and come through, and there's a lot of things he can do from here, right? Usually he's gonna have the cross collar here. So as I hold this, he's gonna be stiff arming my neck trying to invert. So start trying to invert. And as long as I pull this back like this, he can't invert. Keep trying to invert. I can keep him stuck here. And now I can even start clearing this. And now we come into similar sequences as we did before. One common thing that'll happen is when you're here, you have the guy completely frozen. He's gonna get frustrated and try to grab this sleeve to break it because it's stopping him from inverting. Every time the guy thinks about going for that, he's exposing this club pass immediately. So if you know this sequence, that's such a common pass. So I'll be in here, I enter, I drop in like this, the guy starts messing, boom, and you drop. A lot of people like to go for that club pass, but the problem is that they're trying to force it. They're coming in here and they want a club and this guy's hand's ready to frame, or this is here, I can't club here. So I have to come in and I start trying to force this behind, and there he opens it, right? If he doesn't go to break it and he stays here on the collar, right, now I can just kind of keep slowly pulling this back, pop it straight, clear, and now I'm slowly starting to work my way in. Okay, so now like I talked about before, sometimes the guy's guard, he's gonna be in the center like this. So here, doing the knee cut's actually a little bit more difficult because the guy's knee is usually tight here. So normally toreandos and stuff is a little bit easier. But if I wanna force this, I usually step into the derehiva guard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on grabbing the foot early, and I'm gonna push this foot out of the way, and I just step in to trap this leg. He's usually gonna grab my ankle like this. From here, I'm gonna switch my left hand. If you ever saw my video on the Leandro low knee cut, I talk about this in a lot of depth. But basically, once I trap here, I'm now gonna open the knee, I dig my underhook, and I posture and dig through for the knee cut here. If you're really good at killing the derehiva guard, this is a really effective strategy. In fact, there's a lot of complicated open guards when I really don't want to deal with it, I just step into derehiva guard. So his legs are moving a lot. It's very difficult to control the legs. The closer I am with my right leg, the harder it is for his legs to circle, right? It's like you're putting a pipe in the spokes of a wheel. So like, go real quick. So like if he's here and his legs are moving a lot, it's hard to kind of control these. But when I put my leg in the way, don't even grab, right? When I put my leg in the way, keep circling your legs. You see how my leg gets in the way and it crowds his legs out. If he doesn't grab my ankle now it's easy to start trying to toreando. So a lot of times I can kind of come in and just start forcing him here, and then I can start going for this blast knee cut, okay? Again, I won't go into that one too in depth because I did an entire video on it, the Leandro low knee cut, but that's a great way if the guy's centered and you want to force the knee cut. Okay guys, so keep in mind, I'm showing the knee cut pass, but all of these different sequences, they should be combined with other techniques, right? So if he's on his back, for example, I can't go in going, I want to do a knee cut, I want to do a knee cut. I need to mix things. So I may come in and then threaten the toreando, he defends and turns to the side, and now I drop in for the knee cut. Or I may defend the knee cut and then he lassos, right? And I come back up here, and then now the toreando opens. So all of your techniques, that's the hard thing with developing in jiu-jitsu, is you can't force what you want, you have to take what they give you. So I'm giving you a broad overview of all these different options, but you need to mix them with the other threats. You can't just use the knee cut. But if you have a really good knee cut and you know where it fits, it's one of the most powerful passes in jiu-jitsu. Okay, so now let's look at when he's sitting up. So when they're sitting up, this is very, very complicated because it's way easier for the guy to set grips on you. So I try my best to get the pass, but you're not always gonna get it, okay? So one of my favorite ways to do it, if he's sitting centered, well, actually off the bat, if his hands are up in the center like this grip fighting, I like to grab their wrists or even their hand here and I push it to their chest and I can get them to their back. And now this can make it easy to start threatening the same attacks we did on bottom. That's just a nice trick in general. But if I really want to attack it from here, one thing I like to do is I'm going to grab his lapel with, we'll do it the same. I'm going to grab the lapel here and I step over on this side. So if I, no, stay here. Okay, if I step over here and I continue forward, we're gonna end up in this kind of like top leg control style, the homolo style knee cut, okay? Now, commonly, people, what they'll do is when I go here, he doesn't want this leg trapped, so he's gonna try to bring it out, which opens up the cut on the other side. I'll do that the opposite way. So I'm here, right? So I'm gonna end up knee cutting this way. So if I grab here and I go over here, if he stays and doesn't move, this is gonna end up becoming the second knee cut I showed you, the homolo style with the top leg and the lapel. Most guys, when you go for that, I'll go over here, he's gonna clear that leg out, which opens up the space to go for that one. That is an excellent way to set up this pass. Another really good one is, you don't always get this one, but it forces action from your opponent, is when I'm here, I can kind of push back and I'm just gonna shoot for the underhook and lunge my shin. If I get the pass, great. Even if I don't get the pass though, he has to respond to this. So he'll usually push and lasso, and now I got him on his back, and now I'm starting to come in and work my other pass sequences, okay? If I'm dealing with someone who's got one hand on the floor, okay, this can be a bit different because I can't just come in because he can keep backing up with that hand. So usually when that happens, I focus on the wrist or the arm. I'll either push this to his chest or I try to drag it and step around. If he doesn't respond, I can work to his back. Almost always when I get here, he's gonna fall to his back to defend. And now again, I got him on his back and I'm starting to go here and enter in to the other sequences. All right, guys, here's a few bonus ideas on knee cuts that I like to do. Another one I like to do is when I'm passing here, I have a lot of pressure on the guy and I'll back up a little bit. And right when they start to sit up is a great moment to lunge in for the cut, because in that transition time from being on their back to sitting up, or vice versa, being sitting up and going to their back, people often expose their legs, and that's a great way to hit it. Another really cool one, if you're really good with alternating your leg lead, is you can hit the opposite side. So let's say I'm here and he's turned into me, right? So sometimes when the guy's knee shielded here and stuff, it can be a little tricky, right? So he's expecting this kind of like homolo style cut here, but what I can do if I'm good at alternating my leg lead is I'll step back with my right leg and in with my left leg, and now I'm in on like the low cut style on the other side. And this is a really good one. Rodolfo used to do this a lot as well. If you can learn to alternate leg lead, even if like, let's say you're not comfortable with your left leg lead, you can come in and start with the left leg lead just to fake it for a second, just to better set up your right leg lead knee cut.